Knockout Legends in the building. Like, comment, and subscribe. So today we're going to examine Chris Eubank Senior, and basically he makes some comments on Talksport interview live. So I'm going to play the clip and then I'm going to chop it up after. So with no further ado.
Studio with Simon and myself, and as usual, it is very lively. We're talking about Conor Benn's return to the ring this weekend, not here but in the US. But of course, the talk still goes on. Are we ever going to see Conor Benn fight Chris's son, Chris Eubank Jr.? Eddie Hearn spoke on that on Drive.
I like Chris Eubank Jr., but he's the one person you cannot have a sensible conversation with. There is a fight there. Forget just what the fight looks like now, the history of the fight, the families, the feud. It's the biggest rivalry in British boxing. It's going to pay Chris Eubank Jr. probably 3 times more than any fight that's even out there for him to consider. He's fighting a guy that's 2 divisions lighter than him. Yet still, you can't have the conversation to say, come on, let's be sensible here. Let's make the biggest fight in British boxing right now.
Eddie Hearn, and you heard it, Chris, still wants to make this fight between Conor Benn and your son Chris Eubank Jr., not your nephew Harlem, but Chris Eubank Jr.
And you know, this young man who I put into the position in which he sits at Matchroom, I put him in that position. He couldn't be there if it wasn't for me and his dad's working together in the 90s. He just said, it's a fight that can be made because, it's Conor going up to from 147 to 160. Okay, Junior would have to come down from 187 now. And he tried to boil him down to 157. Let me tell you something. The point of fact is, you're running amok, Matchroom, you're running amok, and your licenses are in jeopardy. Okay, be very careful. I don't mind you giving me another year of profile, because now I don't even hear Matchroom calling him Junior. They call him Chris Eubank, and I'm like, not only have they introduced me to a new generation of youngsters, but they're not even calling Junior's name. They say Chris Eubank.
You're telling us it will never happen, this fight. It will never happen. Chris Eubank Jr. will not fight Conor Benn.
I told you this a year before October the 8th.
Right.
2022.
I know, you spoke to us about it. I remember it.
Okay. So you may say, well, that was a bit of a fluke. Okay, so let's try again. You know what I say to Matchroom? Go ahead, try again. Keep on building my name and keep on digging yourself into the pit that you're digging yourself into.
There's a fight fan asking me to ask you. Ask Chris Eubank Senior this lunchtime, how's his relationship nowadays with Chris Eubank Jr.? Is it repaired?
He's my son. I will love him all the days of my life. But as any parent would know, the child says, no, I want to come this way. And the dad says, no, son, you're going to come this way. And the son says, no, this is the way I want to do it. And the dad says, no, son, I can't let you do that because I love you and you don't know what you're doing. And that tug of war is the beautiful thing about life and relationships within a family, because we're all going through it. The only thing is this, or dads are always right, especially when they're righteous, especially when they are coherent, especially when they are experienced, especially when they've won 19 world championship wins, especially when they've lost 5 world championship fights, especially when they've almost lost their life in the ring. I know what I'm talking about, not from my ego, but from my experience. And I say, please, sons, listen to your dads. You don't think they know, but they know. They know the cycles of life. And they know about people who are snakes. They're only looking for money at your expense. Now, son, you want to do it your way, and so you say, well, okay, I don't care what the weight is. For that money, I'll get down to that weight. Yes. And you don't know that you're putting your life on the line to get down to that weight and fight a Conor Benn, who has no interest in money. Hold on. He has the interest in actually giving his father some type of respite from the embarrassing loss he had with me in 1990. And he will never be able to live that down. He said he hates me. That goes around and around and around. You can't come back from that. The only lesson you can learn from that, Conor, is that you don't say things which will not age well. that fight does not happen, especially as Junior is walking around now at 187.
So as
He's
you
not
said to
going to
us
lose.
this lunchtime, Chris, you want Conor Benn in an ideal world to fight your nephew, Harlem Eubank. Do you want that to happen?
You know, look at the talent of Harlem. Look at his talent. You know, he's going to fight a man over the weekend who is, as I say, they dug him up. No, let me take that back.
Come on.
They're matching him with a fighter who is, there's no risk with Dobson.
With Dobson, okay.
So it seems.
Yeah.
But you see what they've done with Conor, they're sending him up and they're bringing him down. They've got him like a seesaw. And this destroys a fighter's career.
So are you going to speak to Eddie Hearn and Matchroom about making this fight between Conor
I only speak to the daddies.
And your nephew?
If I'm going to speak, I only speak to the daddies because I don't mess around with you know, do you remember this time he says that I lost my pen? This is for the GGG fight. Mm-hmm. You think I really said I was going to do something and then I backed out? You think I bottled anything? I don't deal in lies. Rudyard Kipling, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired of waiting, or being lied about. I don't deal in lies.
So you won't deal with Eddie Hearn?
I deal with daddies, not people who are given a big cake and they're slicing it up any which way they want, having no regard for who's going to get the piece.
Okay, we've got 30 seconds left, Chris.
Yeah.
Aziz fights this weekend against Boatsi. It's a big fight, Josh Boatsi, against his best mate.
Let me, I guess, best mate. You talking about personalities and friendship? This is boxing.
Who do you think wins, Chris?
I can't even remember what question it was. I just have one more thing to say.
Go on.
Rastafari.
That's fantastic. That's very insightful.
Yes.
Who do you think is going to win the light heavyweight fight? Because you love your boxing, don't you? You know what these two fighters represent.
I love
boxing. Who would you pick?
I love boxing so much that it hurts me that I can't see the caliber of fighters that should be coming through that do not come through because you have people who have no understanding of what goes on in the four-cornered circle. They don't understand what fighters have to go through. They don't understand that weight kills you. They don't understand
They just don't care.
They don't care. I care about it, which is why you hear this heat coming from me. It is an outrage.
Understood.
It is an outrage.
Understood.
And these guys, you know, who can I talk to? Susan Hearn. No, but I have to say that.
Chris.
I have to say Susan because someone has to get through to these people. You know what running amok means?
Yes.
Explain it to me, please.
Causing mayhem and havoc without any care or respect for anybody else around you.
They're running
There
amok.
you go. He nailed it.
They're
Chris, we'll leave.
So from the clip there's a lot to unpack, and as usual, Chris Eubank Senior is in entertainment. He is very entertaining. Now, he talks about his son, and then he talks about Eddie Hearn. Now, for some reason, he doesn't get on with Eddie Hearn, and I think I get the reason why, because they tried to boil Chris Eubank Jr. down to the weight that he was at for the fight, then all the controversy of all the drugs, and then the egg scandal and all the other stuff. Some fighters actually been given supplements and then not been told what they've been given, and then basically they're popping dirty for things, and then obviously it's turning out that they've been found not guilty for certain things, but it's not 100% clear. Boxing's just one dirty cesspool of filth. It is what it is in the fight game when it comes to making money. And Eddie Hearn, Fast Car Eddie, he's just Eddie. He's just going to do whatever he can to make a buck. It's always about the money with Eddie, no matter what. So he's mercenary like that. But he needs to recoup the money that he's lost in Conor Benn, because he's lost quite a lot of money. So he keeps pushing for this fight because of the fathers. Now, if the fathers had never had the rivalry they had and had the intense fights that they've had, both the sons would never had this opportunity. And yeah, both sons know that there is a legacy there and a thing to do to actually drum up interest and to make the fights to get money. But what Chris Eubank Senior says is pretty true about the way that this fight has been positioned and the weight classes and the way things have been done. It's just totally unethical in the sense that because he's lost one of his other sons already, and I think he's emotionally distraught and he's still grieving, it's making him realise certain things about boxing that he already knows from the past and coming into the future. So he wants to protect his son, but his son's a grown man, so he has to understand that at some point the son has to be a man and do his own thing, which is what is happening. So with this back and forth, we're seeing basically a family saga or turmoil draw out in the public, and people keep saying that Chris Eubank Senior has having a mental breakdown. In some respects, he probably is, but I think it's more of a I think it's grieving because he can see what's going on in front of him, and his son is being manipulated in a way where he may end up being taken advantage of or being seriously hurt. Now, me personally, I think if the fight at a certain weight and Chris Eubank Jr. fights Conor Benn, he will win because he's naturally the bigger guy. But if they boil him down, then it's a totally different matter. But if he fights at a weight that he's comfortable at, which is his right weight, then he should be able to beat Conor Benn easily. But the ifs and buts of it is kind of a iffy thing. But a lot of what Chris is saying about daddies, listening to the dads, listening to him because he's got experience, a lot of it rings true. You know, everything he says is bang on the money, even though it comes across as a rant and it comes across like he's a little bit off key. That's just Chris. He's very eccentric like that. So with that balance with what he's saying, it is actually spot on. A lot of what he's saying is spot on, even though it's entertaining and it's funny. And a lot of people are going to like buzz off the interview and think it's funny and think what's not, it's not. But I think it's more passion and the fact that he's still a little bit sad about his other son that passed away, and he wants to hold on to the sons that he's got while he's still got the time on this earth and to give the advice he can while he can. But he did say that the fight would never happen, and it proves that he was right, because I did a video on this before when he was interviewed by Talksport before, and with him saying that he won't deal with Eddie Hearn and he'd only deal with the dad, he's talking about Barry Hearn. So it's the relationship of the grown-up generation, of that generation. It's a different generation. He won't deal with the young upstarting Eddie Hearn because he knows he won't get anywhere with Eddie Hearn. But when it came to actually talking about other fights, he just went off on a tangent and kind of just kept reiterating what he wanted to reiterate. So it's actual great entertainment, but it is actually a bit sad seeing Chris go down this road, because you can still see that he's hurting by the passing of his son. He's still grieving, but it's like he's grieving in public. So every time he does an interview, you can see part of him, it's gone. Part of him's a little bit lost, and he's trying to keep hold of what he's got left with his other family and his other sons and his nephew, and trying to just hold the family together in the best way he can. But it's failing, because sometimes in trying to protect people, you end up alienating them, and that's kind of what's happening here. But anyway, what are your thoughts on what Chris says? Do you think he's right? Do you think he's wrong? Or do you just think it's great entertainment? Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Like, comment and subscribe. And that is another one from Knockout Legends. Peace.